Good afternoon. Uh, I'm here to present coverage on day 3 of the European Championships. First off, after a very difficult day 2, I'm relieved that Christian Eriksen is okay, and I think everyone will wish him, including myself, will wish him a healthy recovery. That is the most important thing, and especially since other players have picked up injuries in other games during the tournament. Timothy Castagne for Belgium is out of the tournament already. So we will hope that this is a much happier and more pleasant experience for football fans across Europe. And today's game, which I'm covering, is England against Croatia. It's a funny rivalry. You could argue that there are large groups on each side who dislike the other team. And England and Croatia have played each other in major tournaments before. Everyone will remember the World Cup semi-final where Croatia defeated England after extra time in Moscow 3 years ago. But it is often forgotten that in this stadium 2 years ago, England came from behind to beat Croatia 2-1 in a Nations League game, and also beat Croatia at the European Championships 4-2 in Lisbon in 2004. But then qualifying for the next European Championships, Croatia did the double over England, which led to the Three Lions failing to qualify for Euro 2008. So it is something of a rivalry. You could argue that since they became a national team following their independence, Croatia, you could even argue, has been the better international team in terms of what they've achieved. But that doesn't mean England will lie low for this one. I'm sure they will be determined. And of course, in front of a, given the circumstances, healthy crowd at Wembley Stadium, will be hoping to achieve really good things to kickstart what they hope will be a special tournament, even though England have not had the best of memories generally in this tournament, especially relative to what they have done in the FIFA World Cup. I'm just waiting for the players to make their way out of the tunnel before the match gets underway, before we have the national anthems as well, of course. Now, even though I've started the stream, I will. There is not so much to talk about at this point. I will just go offline for a minute and then resume as soon as I know that the national anthems are about to begin and the players are about to leave the tunnel. So I will be back very soon, just a short minute. Apologies for the technical difficulties there. I don't believe my Wi-Fi, from which I run everything through, is particularly strong today. Really sorry, I can't do much about that. I've done a lot to try and maximise the connection speed. It's actually not that bad today. I normally expect better, but it's still perfectly serviceable. We now have the Croatia players in the tunnel. I don't know why they're wearing long sleeve coats, given it's an incredibly warm day in England. Of course, it is going to be hotter and hotter the further we go into this tournament. Here in Hertfordshire, it is currently 27 degrees. I've even shut my window. In fact, that might be better, so that none of the lawnmowers and dogs can be heard through my microphone. Not least of all will distract me from my coverage. We have the England team also wearing long sleeve coats as they prepare to leave onto the pitch. And as has been the case in every game at these championships so far, the players don't leave the tunnel simultaneously. They leave one after the other, or if possible from separate tunnels. I imagine in part to reflect the fact that social distancing is still an important thing, not just at this tournament, but in so many aspects of society at the moment, and that will be the case for the time being. Croatia follow England as onto the Wembley surface. 22,500 people in attendance. It's pretty much a quarter of the full capacity of Wembley Stadium, which of course hosted a group of fans in the FA Cup final a few weeks ago. And that had an attendance of about 20,000 who saw Yuri Tielemans' screamer to win Leicester the cup. That's not the story today, but just a little detail in case you weren't aware, as the players are now out and we'll hear the national anthem of Croatia first. That was the Croatian national anthem. I would sing God Save the Queen, but I have to be neutral and unbiased as a broadcaster of sorts. The man in the middle today, Daniele Orsato of Italy. Orsato refereed the 2020 Champions League final between Bayern München and Paris Saint-Germain. He also refereed a leg of a Champions League semi-final earlier this year. England have been affected by fitness and injury issues. It's a double pivot of Declan Rice alongside not Jude Bellingham or Jordan Henderson, but Calvin Phillips of Leeds United. Mason Mount starts between Manchester City players Phil Foden and Raheem Sterling. Kieran Trippier starts ahead of Chilwell and Luke Shaw at left back today. He played there in a friendly against Austria and didn't disgrace himself, I'd say. The captains for this game were the same captains in that semi-final in Moscow in 2018, Luka Modric and Harry Kane. And similarly, Croatia have been affected by injuries. A new first-choice keeper, Subasic, retired after the World Cup. It's Livakovic in goal. Dejan Lovren out injured. So Chaleta is in the central defence alongside Domagoj Vida and Šime Vrsaljko, who only played 7 games in La Liga for the triumphant Atletico Madrid, starts at right back. And that midfield looks very threatening indeed. It's Brozovic in the deepest position, and either side of him, Luka Modric, of course, who else, and Mateo Kovacic. And it's a front three of Kramaric, Rebic and Perisic, which many assume will interchange in this match. It's possible that Kramaric will drop behind the strikers, will drop behind Rebic and Perisic. But who knows? A lot of expectation from both these teams, having had great performances at the last major tournaments. England since have also reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Nations League, and they did so, reaching the semi-finals by beating Croatia in the stadium in the autumn of 2018. Players have taken the knee. A lot of discussion about that. Osato ready to start the match, and we are underway at last. And straight away, and you wouldn't be surprised with the amount of midfielders they have, Croatia controlling possession of the ball. And before it runs out of play, England intercept it. Tyrone Mings. A lot of people unhappy with him in the starting 11, but I don't feel he's made any major mistakes for the England national team as of yet. You could argue he's been even more comfortable for England than he is for Aston Villa, although some people feel he is only in the squad at all because he is effectively England's only reliable left-footed centre-back. And like in many other games, it's not been a particularly adventurous start for either side. They are just passing the ball around the middle of the pitch, often going out of play. A lot of collisions. Croatia, however, very keen to press and move the ball further up the pitch. I wonder if they'll be relying a lot on verticality. John Stones being the centre-back partner. It would normally have been Maguire and Stones, if not Harry Maguire and Joe Gomez, but Maguire not in the squad today with injury troubles, and Gomez, of course, having been out since last autumn, funnily enough, since an international break involving England. Of course, another centre-back that England could potentially use is Wolverhampton Wanderers' Connor Cody. Kyle Walker overlapping up the field. Not sure if Gareth Southgate should be in the sun for too long with that suit on. It will be absolutely baking. I'll be amazed if he still has it on in the second half. Vida. Up to Marcelo Brozovic, who's had a fantastic season for Inter Milan. And Watchalong, who, like Brozovic, has played for a league-winning club. Raheem Sterling has won it, although Croatia quickly get it back. Now it's Luka Modric, and Croatia might be looking to make the first attack of the game. Perisic. Modric feeds it out to Perisic again, looking to cross it. He can cross it well with either foot, even Perisic. And the referee has stopped play, even though Pickford's just been forced into a good save. Dead ball situation, accidentally collided with Daniele Olsato. And in a fairly dangerous position. Croatia not putting so many men forward. Croatia restart play. Compared to Southgate, Zlatko Dalic's sense of fashion is a bit more laid back. I think that's been very reflective of his character throughout his time as England manager. And this is a good-looking attack for England. It's Phil Foden cutting into the box now. Shoots. Oh, he's crashed it off the post. Fantastic opening chance for England in the first 5 minutes. But Foden goes again. Oh, so ambitious. Foden knew exactly what he wanted to do there. And Livakovic was beaten. A lot of people thought that some people were cynical enough to believe that the out of form and injured, respectively, Sterling and Rashford would start the game. Well, Sterling has started, but doesn't mean I don't feel Sterling will be particularly useless. He has scored a hat-trick for England in this stadium, but here's Croatia now. And it's not a particularly challenging shot for Pickford to catch. I think the deflection took a lot of pace off the ball as it spun into the Everton man's gloves. Nice ball forward. This is Raheem Sterling, but it's gone too far for him. Hit too long. And here's Foden's shot again. 15 yards out. Yeah, Livakovic completely beaten. And let's hope we see a lot more of that from Foden and other players like Rashford and Jadon Sancho. Oh. Trippier throws another ball forward into Mason Mount this time. Steers around Vida. Raheem Sterling now. And here's Raheem Sterling. Great block. And it is going to be an England corner. Was Sterling offside? He looks on there. To be honest, I didn't spot any offside flag raised. And despite having been notoriously poor in terms of end products. I wouldn't say that was Sterling's fault at all. But of course, there will be loads of people looking for a scapegoat. Mount to deliver the corner. And it's volleyed. Good save. And it's out for a throw-in. England looking very confident in the early minutes of the match. I think Croatia would be too. I'm sure they'll come round later in the game. For now, everything is going to the men and boys in white. Walker finds in club teammate Foden. And I think we're going to see a replay of that save. Oh, beautiful volley from Phillips. And it goes through a lot of legs, and Livakovic did very well to keep it out. And well, Croatia have definitely looked to dominate possession with that incredible playmaking midfield. England have done well to contain them so far. My stream has lagged so much I've actually lost a few seconds as we see a replay of Phillips's volley again. Really tidy strike. Pickford lobs it upfield. Kane. Now it's Foden. Sterling. And Trippier, I don't think he's been substituted, but he's not looking particularly... Oh wait, he's... my bad, overreacted there. He's just getting a throw. He's just retrieving a ball for a throw-in. Kane going into a wide position to win the ball. Modric, great combination of physical and technical ability. Just wouldn't lose the ball despite his opponent's best attempts to tackle him. ball thrown forward. Mings. Now Sterling. Declan Rice. Now I genuinely feel England would struggle a lot more without Rice shielding the defence. As mentioned, he's got great energy on the ball. He's become a really nice passer of it too. And here's Brozovic. Croatia not being able to pass the ball as fluidly as they'd like. Their pressing is good, but often when they pass the ball around, it doesn't always find another Croatian player. Goes straight back to a white shirt. Encouraging signs for England. But what fans are like will want more than anything is to see them hit the net. Mason Mount, Sterling. That's a good ball. Mason Mounts. Not many men to feed into the box. Deflected cross. Cleared. It's Modric. And that's a foul. And this might be a good free kick for England. So Phillips seems to have won the ball fairly. And then brought down by Mateo Kovacic, who many will remember was sent off in the FA Cup final last summer in this stadium. Perhaps unfairly. But either way, Chelsea should have been a man down at that point, with Azpilicueta conceding a penalty as the last man and not really going for the ball. That's again another story. Well, hey, it's a cup tournament, I guess. Got Trippier and Mount thinking of taking this. It's almost certainly going to be delivery. I think it's just too far out to be a direct free kick. Lobbed into the penalty area. And Harry Kane couldn't get it on target. And Kane was actually offside when the ball was fed towards him. And England might have won it here. Foden. Great feat from Phil Foden. But Mateo Kovacic has it. That's a great hit and a fine save from Phillips again from Livakovic. But I think the whistle might have gone anyway for Foul from Phillips. Very unventurous, going for the ball like that. It's interesting, England are effectively playing two defensive midfielders, and yet neither are acting like their traditional roles. I'd say Rice is certainly more of a ball winner. He can be a box-to-box, but he's certainly better as a ball winner. Speaking of winning balls, Mason Mount has done just that, with plenty of space available. Croatia trying to close it down. Kane's failed to connect. But Croatia quickly retreated into their area and have formed a block very deep now. That's very deep, and England's job has become much harder. That's the point where it's gone all the way back to Pickford. Trippier to Kane, who, as usual for England, has dropped deep. Great ball from Mason Mount. Sterling. Tried to find someone in the area. I don't know if he... don't think he made the wrong choice in not shooting and trying to be unselfish in that instant. Croatia couldn't control it that time. So here we see a lovely ball over the top from Mount. Sterling decided it was too selfish to shoot, so he distributed it. It's already too many Croatian players in the box for anything serious to be created. A lot of play back to the goalkeeper for both sides in this game so far, in attempts to create something. In fact, one of the reasons Jordan Pickford is favoured as the number one for England is because of his distribution. Nick Pope isn't bad either. Of course, Nick Pope out injured, but when he stepped between the sticks for England's World Cup qualifiers in March, he didn't look as convincing. It's academic now, of course. Watchalong here. Sterling's best attempts to close him off, and Watchalong, I think, has won a free kick. Again, Modric tried to close him down, but his ability and confidence on the ball is too good, and he avoids any form of danger. It's Kovacic, now it's Luka Modric. Great touch there. He's brought down, but referee thinks it was a fair challenge, and play does continue on. Foden tries to pressure Livakovic. Sharliko tries a nice cross, and it's headed away by Mings. Mateo Kovacic. And that's a terrible cross. I don't know who he was aiming for there. And here's another replay of that early chance from Phil Foden. Beautiful hit. And possibly a glimpse of England's future. I hope I haven't jinxed Foden there. Southgate not particularly disheartened to that chance to have gone begging. I guess he feels more will come, and I guess a few more have come their way, although none are as good as Foden's strike early on. 65 minutes to go though. Lots can happen. Here's Sterling. Oh dear. Probably reacted a bit too quickly. Decided as the ball bounced he'd try something, but struck the ball too wildly. But remember, club performances don't simply translate to international ones. And of course Sterling has been great for England in the past. That's a good ball, but Mings covers it really well, and I think we'll try and clear it upfield. He does, but it falls to Modric. Sharliko. And Sharliko's still going here. I'm sure he'll try and cross it again. Another nice cross straight into the area. And the first time hit isn't a good one from Ivan Perisic. But you can see when Croatia tries something, they are not too bad at executing it. What a strike that would have been if it had gone in. Pickford with that powerful left-footed punt up the field. Doesn't find an England player. Indeed, it just goes straight back to the Croatian goalkeeper. And it clips an England player on the way out, but it's fallen to Kovacic. Or is that Brozovic? I think it would be better if I was at Wembley myself, looking at the field and spotting out these players through a HD monitor. It's not necessarily the best. A pretty grubby monitor at that as well. Nice ball out to Vardiol. Which again, trying to pick out somebody. He's found Sharliko. Real Madrid to Atletico Madrid. Croatia trying to mount a serious chance for Sharliko on his left foot. And can't be controlled. Goes out for an England goal kick. As it came off of Croatian player last, Pickford is allowed to claim it as a means of distributing it back outfield. Oh, very wasteful pass of the ball there. And Mings pushed in the back by Ante Rebic as he tried to see that one go out for a goal kick, and Rebic pushes him. I guess trying to force a corner by making it come off Mings, but it's an illegal action. This time Pickford goes to John Stones. Southgate has taken his suit off now, half an hour in. Oh, it is going to be very warm. Very hot. Again, England with good numbers in the area to clear it out. But it's Croatia now trying to create something. Perisic is able to keep it in. And I'm sure he'll try a cross now. But it doesn't find anyone dangerous. And before Croatia know it, it's back in their half. In their control, but in their half. Modric, for a brief moment, almost becoming Andrea Pirlo, being so deep and navigating his way around England players pressing. And gets the ball upfield. You can see there's so often, despite the jokes about so many of Croatia's goals coming down the left side, so many of their attacks coming down the left side at least, most of the game so far it's been going down the right side of the pitch, I'd argue. Or at least when it comes to fullbacks. If it goes down the left side at all, it goes to Ivan Perisic. And now it's Mateo Kovacic. Chips it over, but not that well. Stones to Walker. Great ball into Foden. Nice touch to control it. And the flag is raised. Oh, fantastic. Remember, just 20 years old. And you do feel under Guardiola he will only keep growing as a player. assuming he stays fit. Manchester City and England could have a very frightening player on their hands if his upward trajectory continues. Very direct set of passes from Croatia. But they don't win the corner. Kyle Walker sees it out. England have done very well to contain Croatia with what is to an extent a bit of a makeshift back line. A right back at left back, a left-footed centre back who many would argue shouldn't even be in the top 5 choices for centre backs, even in the left spot for England. Stones, who is known for errors in the occasional game, and Kyle Walker, who has sometimes gone invisible, but they've had great chemistry today so far. Now, I might be speaking too early with only 2/5 of the game completed, but looking sound so far. Here is Raheem Sterling. Great energetic runs as usual. He tries to feed in Foden, but he's dispossessed of the ball. Croatia try and play it out. Now, is that a free kick to Croatia? It is not. It's a nice bit of play from Sterling just a moment ago there. Harry Kane. I haven't seen so much of him so far in this match as immediately someone throws himself at Kane to tackle for the ball. Mount playing a bit like a Mazzala. Something of a central midfielder number 10 who will drift out wide, and he's been doing a lot of that today. Especially if Kieran Trippier doesn't overlap. Trippier with another one of those balls through Croatia's defence to Phillips, but he's offside. Rice, a ball-winning midfielder. Phillips, a deep-lying playmaker, usually for their clubs, and neither really have been playing in those sorts of roles today, and yet I wouldn't say either have been particularly poor. At least not defensively. Southgate considering his options. Half time coming up. And also the possibility that for the fourth time in 5 games, third time in 4 if you discount the Denmark-Finland game, understandably so, that there will be no first half goals. Only the Belgium-Russia game has featured a goal in the first 45 minutes. This match looks like it could very well be the same. Flag goes up against Croatia there. Yep. There wasn't a goal until about 53 minutes in the opening game between Italy and Turkey. That was a known goal. About an hour in between Finland and Denmark. As I said, I can understand if you wouldn't count that game. A very difficult experience for all who watched it. Walker. No one on the end of what is in the end a terrible cross. You can see some people with some retro shirts, whether they're actually from the Euro 2004 tournament or it's a replica production. I am not sure. I'm enjoying their few seconds of fame. I'm actually glad that the live world feed director hasn't cut to so many shots of the crowds. It's not been the most exciting game, but it's been interesting in the way it's been cagey. Even though there haven't been too many really good chances overall for either side. Walker fouled there. Tyrone Mings, he's into the path of Sterling. Now was he brought down? The referee says free kick. And a yellow card is produced. And I do feel Sterling does exaggerate a bit. Throws his body and arms out. And Charlotte Carr, is yellow carded. I've only just realised the accents, where the accents have been placed. Silly me. I do know that he plays for Marseille, and he's had a solid season, one of Marseille's better players, in spite of what's been a troubled year for them at the club. Bit of turmoil the higher up you go. But they've brought in some new players, new manager, and had a solid run in the end. And has scored direct free kicks before for Chelsea. Famously, so has Kieran Trippier. Harry Kane has even had a go, but hasn't really scored that many. It looks like it will be either Trippier or Mount, no left-footed player. Of course, only Foden and Mings. Or Jordan Pickford, I believe, are they're the only left-footers for England on the pitch right now. Trippier looking over this one, and it's charged down instantly. Plenty of power on it. As England instantly take the throw in. But the flag is raised. He was definitely aiming for the far corner away from the keeper, but the man at the edge of the wall headed this away just in time. Pickford has to clear that and does. To be fair to Pickford, the pass to him wasn't particularly safe. It's Croatia's throw-in. Modric made his assured with his shielding. And that's Mateo Kovacic. Good run. Gvardiol gets to it before Kyle Walker can. Some lovely feet from Croatia. Oh, and Mings did well to clear the ball before being fouled. I don't believe there'll be so many minutes added on at the end of this first half. And indeed, there isn't any stoppage time whatsoever. It's another game without any score in the opening half of the match. England have definitely looked the better side, but neither has looked particularly threatening. And I'm sure both will be making moves at half-time, making plans. I am certain at least one of the two sides will make a change. We'll have to wait and see. 15 minutes await us. The scoreline at the moment is England 0, Croatia 0. Welcome back. And the game at Wembley will resume in a second. A game that is goalless so far. And regardless of whether the scoreline will change, what won't change is this hot weather. It's incredibly warm across the country. And I'm sure the players, all 22 men, will have topped up on fluids more than they normally would in the game. We're just waiting for Daniele Orzato to signal to restart the game, and it's back underway. There's Ivan Perisic in a race with John Stones here. And Mings' clearance looped into the hands of Pickford. Well, he tried to clear it, and it bounces off Perisic's ankle. And Croatia have won a free kick. Kramaric brought down by Phillips. And here's Ivan Perisic again. Tries to get round Walker, but the flag is up. Yes, indeed, he mistimed his run. It was Andrej Kramaric who scored that opening goal in the Nations League game at Wembley in 2018 in the Nations League. Oh, Mings. Maybe a bit too confident on the ball there. Could easily have passed it to Croatia. But it's finally out of harm's way. Even though Croatia still have possession. It's back halfway down the pitch. England free kick. And a yellow card is shown. As Mason Mount is chopped down. Yellow card for Mateo Kovacic as he clatters into his Chelsea teammate. An awkward moment to say the least, although I don't think that will really be on Kovacic's mind. And Mount is back on his feet. Of course, whenever in the opening games we see a player yellow carded, you know that could come back to haunt them later in the tournament if they get another one. We've seen so many hopeful teams at tournaments have their experience ruined with a key player getting a second yellow card, not in the single game but over the course of a handful, and going on to miss a crucial fixture, often a knockout game. Many will feel that Brazil, had Casemiro not been suspended for that quarter-final in the World Cup, might have changed a lot as Rebic tries to get on the end of the ball. And I think Croatia have a throw-in. Šaleko gives it to Modric. Deflection delays the cross, and Mings clears it without any difficulty. Oh, that's a dreadful ball, and Pickford came off his line to get it away in the nick of time there. Oh, in the space of a few minutes, two really nervy defensive moments for England. And it's a very loose ball, and very alert was Pickford. And Trippier has been solid at left back for the free line so far, but that is certainly one of his weaker moments, possibly for England at all in the last few years. We know, yes, he won the league with Atletico Madrid this season, playing not just on the right side of defence, but often as a wide midfielder with his excellent deliveries. But up to this point, he's been fine. Hopefully, we do see either Chilwell or Luke Shaw at some point in this tournament. We have Declan Rice there, taking down Luka Modric. Now it's back with Croatia, who only had 42% of the possession in the first half. I feel that number might increase over the remaining duration of the game. And it's now Gvardiol. Another ball played out to Šaleko. So Trippier has got it, no problem. And can't find anyone to release it to. But here's Harry Kane. And this is Foden again. Again cutting in from the right. And here's Kane. Oh, tries a really clever ball. His teammates couldn't receive it. And Modric has won another free kick, this time off Calvin Phillips. The ball's all been Croatia's in the last few moments. Chips over to Perisic. Still Perisic, Gvardiol. Modric will shoot. Pickford saw that early enough. Couldn't control it, but the rebound was kind for him. Although I feel he did deliberately position his body and move in a way which allowed the rebound to be kind in the end. We have Foden dropping deep. Don't believe he's done it that much so far today. Sterling couldn't keep that in. We now see Jack Grealish warming up. I know a lot of people were very upset that Sterling started in Grealish's place. Well, he does appear to be, looks as though he will play a part in this game. England will hope on the scoring front or creative front. So effective in the final third for Aston Villa. And arguably the reason why they had such a solid season. You could tell how badly they performed when he was out with shin splints. In the spring. Well, that's a good ball. Calvin Phillips here. He's got space to shoot. It's Sterling! Fantastic for England. And the man who many dreaded having started the game has given England their first goal of the tournament. 56 minutes gone. And I'm sure as many saw him pick up the ball from Calvin Phillips, they must have thought he'd have skied it or pushed it straight into Livakovic. It's gone into the back of the net. England lead 1-0. And it will be a real boost of confidence for Sterling, who has had a difficult season, it must be said, with Manchester City. Many again questioning if he was really a good player, whether it was all down to Pep Guardiola's tactics. I think some of these questions are being answered right now. Great finish. He needed that. Off the wrist of Livakovic on its way in. And I don't know Sterling personally, but I myself am pleased for him. Probably more so than I'm pleased for England at this moment. And England showing more confidence as they go forward again, although the ball this time out of play. It goes without saying that's Raheem Sterling's first goal at a major tournament. But Croatia looking to press. Pickford has to clear that quickly. And it's out to Kyle Walker, who will race upfield. Sterling didn't score, of course, in the 2014 World Cup. As a teenager in 2016, he was similarly invisible. And despite some great individual moments in 2018, didn't score in that tournament either. What a moment to score that first tournament goal when it really counts. And he certainly justified Gareth Southgate's decision, that's for sure, to start him. Kieran Trippier again. And here's Sterling. Calvin Phillips. Good ball out. Floated into Mount. He keeps England in possession of the ball. Phillips. Stones. Right, it's Foden playing more centrally this time. Good attack from Mount. And it's Kane! Oh! And he's had a collision. Looked like he came off the goalpost. And let's hope it's nothing too serious. Oof. Does appear to strike it with his ribs and abdomen. Oof. And his upper arm. Ah. And it's definitely not a nice sight to see a player down. And I'm sad that we've seen too many scenes like this in the 40-something hours since the opening game in Rome. And let's see the play again. Calvin Phillips with another great ball. No, that's the that's the replay of the goal which leads to the 1-0. You must be very pleased for this man. No doubt after all the abuse he gets from the tabloid media, social media. Great to see Harry Kane back on his feet. And I was worried he'd have to be substituted. And at the very least, provided England make the knockouts, he'll be fully fit by the time they play their first knockout game. If England top the group, it will be against the runner-up in Group F, which could easily be one of France, Germany or Portugal. My money's personally on Portugal. You can see my predictions video if you're interested in that. Cheeky tag. England wants a free kick. Gvardiol. Who's gone down in a heap. But I don't know who the yellow card is for. It's another one from referee Osato. I wonder if it's for Foden. It does seem more like if Gvardiol pulled anything, it's not Foden's fault. It seems to just be a in the moment thing. And one does hope Foden is careful in the remaining games in this tournament. Croatia seemed to play with a little more intent, actually. A phrase we've all heard before regarding England. They'll score first. That's not the end of the story. Another player down, though, on the deck. Sterling, but he's back up again. Croatia are really pushing to get into England's box. Guardiola cleared by the head of John Stones, and the volley deflected wide by Ante Rebic. Oh. England should still try to commit themselves forward a little bit, although there'll be inevitably more pressure from Croatia. But it is an England goal kick. Oh, that's excellent, an excellent challenge. And England have plenty of options forward. Mount here. It's brought down. Free kick given. Another yellow, this time for Marcelo Brozovic. And it could arguably be a professional foul. The intention was there to bring down Mount, although it's not a serious chance, and thus he's still on the pitch. To be honest with you, it is absolutely nothing more than a yellow for Brozovic. Like Foden, the sort of player where if he was suspended, could be very costly for his country. I wonder if this is going to be more of a set piece to deliver, or a direct free kick. Again, Mount's eager to take it. Livakovic has his had the post covered, I thought, for the potential of a left-footed taker, but looks like it will just be Mount going for this one. Mason Mount over the bar. It's well taken. And I feel Livakovic could have had that covered with more pace, and had it gone under, well, maybe too many variables there to factor in. But it wasn't a bad effort from Mount. Modric dropping very deep again. Oh, nice bit of pressing from Mount again, but it leads to nothing more than a Croatia goal kick. Marcus Rashford looks like he could be coming on soon, although he'll need to change his shirts. Croatia also looking to make changes. Nikola Vlasic, whom some deem to be one of Croatia's most dangerous midfielders, at least for the national team, will be coming on. Plays his football with CSKA Moscow in Russia, does Nikola Vlasic. Originally loaned out by Everton, and has now been signed to the Moscow club permanently. Very underrated player, at club level at least, Vlasic. Here's Guardiola. And will that be a corner, or... I think it will be a corner for the Croatians. Indeed. Mings just needs a sip of water before he returns to his heading duties. A very instinctive defender, probably explains why he's occasionally prone to mistakes, Mings, but he's been absolutely sound so far. Modric takes. And it's not particularly hit well, and it goes wide from Brozovic. Hit it so hard, bounced into the floor. Not much anyone else could do if it fell in their path. Indeed, Brozovic is coming off For Vlasic, I feel Vlasic will play more as a 10, and that will have Modric and Kovacic dropping deeper, more like deep line playmakers and ball winners. And I wouldn't say either are particularly bad at that. Similarly, Gvardiol is coming off. Sorry, it's Kramaric. The two do look quite similar, at least in terms of the hair. Bracalo of Wolfsburg comes on for Andrej Kramaric, and Phil Foden is also being changed. I think it will be Marcus Rashford, even more attacking intense. And I know a lot of people criticise Southgate for, putting a defensive midfielder on. He's not resorted to that. I would like to see Jude Bellingham or Jordan Henderson come on, if it meant England were to be better screens in the remaining 20 minutes of this match, not including stoppage time. Pickford blasts it back out into the sun. It's a good ball down the field. I think it's out though. Yes, Croatia throw. Gvardiol still on the pitch, there he is. Modric playing so deep, he's practically a centre-back at this point, in that instance at least. And Walker wins that. It's out to Marcus Rashford. Modric and Kovacic, former teammates at Real Madrid. Indeed forming that sort of double pivots, I'm imagining, to allow Vlasic more freedom, since his attacking output in the final third is much more dangerous than either of those two. Modric and Kovacic much deeper passes. The header. Oh! Safely handled. Almost a mix-up. Oh! But they calmly. Sure, yep, close one. We got away with it, but let's keep our heads a bit longer, shall we? Harry Kane grabbing his lower back. Well, that must be why. Car in a collision with England's captain. And high over the bar from the left foot of Sterling there. And that's the side of Sterling more people associating with, but that's quite unfair in my opinion. But yes, Sterling should definitely have hit that better. And here come Croatia on the break with Modric, but Perisic fouled. And John Stones is down on the pitch. In fact, I think that is why the whistle was blown, not because Perisic was fouled. Not good. England centre-back depth was already thin. And Stone's an undisputed starter in the absence of the likes of Gomez, and now he's down. Not exactly encouraging. Of course, Wolverhampton's Connor Cody will probably come on. No, it might even be Ben White of Brighton and Hove Albion. I know quite a few Brighton fans say he's not their best central defender, but he's certainly one for the future. Stones looks like he well, whether he'll play on, I'm not sure, as he just exchanged the words there. The man he faced in the Champions League final. And there's Maguire, whom I'm sure is deep down disappointed that he can't be playing. I'm sure he will be if fit enough. And we're back underway with Kyle Walker's throw-in. Kovacic now. Feeds it out to Vrsaljko. But he's closed down. So Kovacic goes alone through the centre. Finds Perisic. Fardiol. Modric to Domagoj Vida with one of those rare runs forward. Oh, some nice passing from Croatia. And England need to clear it, and they do. Declan Rice, I think that was. Another change for Croatia. It's Ante Rebic who comes off, and I think it's going to be, yes, a more traditional centre-forward, Bruno Petkovic, who has often started, and what I remember has been a solid centre-forward option for Croatia since the retirement of Mario Mandzukic. Sterling's chopped down, and England have a free kick. So, Kovacic. It's not a great pass. Although England's attempts to clear it aren't that much better. Goes back to Livakovic. Vardio again. For Charlico. And this is Bricalo, I believe. So clear. England did well not to foul. That might have been a dangerous set piece. Had there been a foul, as Croatia continue to pressurise England going into the final 10 minutes. Dreadful ball, well out of play and straight into England's possession. And indeed, Jude Bellingham looks like he'll be coming on. Good defensive option. He can go forwards, and he'll have plenty of energy for the Three Lions in the remaining minutes of this game. Substitutions have been done pretty well from both managers, I'd say. And it's Bellingham coming on, I believe, for Harry Kane. Which I suppose would mean that Rashford would be playing through the centre, or at least he's a good option to break the lines. Harry Kane would need rest after that awful crunching moment 20 minutes ago. Not sure who the armband is going to go to. I imagine it will be the likes of Raheem Sterling or Kieran Trippier. It would go to Henderson, but he's not on the pitch. And despite missing that chance, he's had a good game as England's number 9. Modric still going. Great runs again from the 35-year-old. Perisic. Oh, this is good, and that's a lovely ball downfield, but Livakovic is already there. It is Rashford running through the centre, trying to break Croatia's lines. He's so good at piercing through high defensive lines as the Manchester United forward. Not to mention he can sometimes be a decently creative player, not just breaking lines with his speed, but with his through balls. Although it's been a while since I noticed him do that. Marcus Rashford, of course, will have surgery after England's tournament is over. Although that will probably be a matter of how late, or pessimists will say how soon, things will come to an end. That's ambitious. Pickford claims. Had to stretch himself. And here's an interesting substitution. A former Chelsea player. He never played in the first team, Mario Pasalic. Plays for Atalanta. There are a few other Atalanta players in this tournament, like I think Matteo Pescina is in the squad for Italy, and you also have Ruslan Malianovsky, who will be possibly Ukraine's most important player. Ukraine playing their first match of the tournament tonight against the Netherlands in Amsterdam at 8 p.m. Look at that. That's how important it is to keep Luka Modric out of the game. You have to have so many players with their eyes on him. And Kovacic is coming off for Pasalic, who can play in a more offensive or defensive role in midfield. England were trying their best to play the Croatians offside. Modric delivers. And again, it's a tame header. In fact, I don't even know if it's going to count. Looks like there was a bit too much. And Dalic is quite annoyed. Chaleta fouling stones unnecessarily. All we're going to have to do now is something they've struggled in the previous tournaments. Let's keep their heads. And based on their performance in this game, there's not much reason to believe that's going to happen. In fact, maybe they'll do something going forward. Rashford trying to chase after Chaleta. Croatia winner throwing off Sterling. Seems to deliberately play it into him so it could rebound out of play so they could keep possession. Sterling with the armband on after Kane's been substituted. And oh dear, looks like, I hope that's not another clash of heads between Vida and Bellingham. Thankfully, Physio's on the scene quickly, as should always be the case. Of course, being Wembley, it's the easiest. And Bellingham didn't see Vida. What a horrible shock that would have been for the teenager. Still down. Awful blow to the back of the head. Obviously not intentional from Vida. England potentially making a final attacking substitution. I can imagine it being possibly for Bellingham, who, thank goodness, is back on his feet. A late drinks break. England and Croatia will just try and find some composure. England to maintain their lead. Croatia to make sure if there's one last roll of the dice, they take good advantage of it. And for thousands in the stands, regardless of what happens in the final minutes, this will probably go down as a good day. Looks like Bellingham will stay on. Oh, ambitious ball, but too heavy for Mount in the end. Croatia, I can see them, even if they lose today, I can still see them doing fine against the Czech Republic and Scotland, but this hasn't been as threatening a performance as it was in Moscow 3 years ago. Of course, like other squads, having struggled with injury issues, fitness issues, as a ball is played forward into Perisic, but there's no one to head it down to. And Pickford can shepherd that no problem. Not sure how many more minutes are going to be played at the end of the game as we're into stoppage time. A final substitution, Calvert-Lewin on for Sterling. And he too will have to change the armbands. I don't know who for. It's been a good day for the number 10. A lot of people feeling he had no business being in the squad, never mind the starting 11. But he started alright. 2.5 minutes more to play. 2.5 minutes for Croatia to provide by England's stories, based on England's history. Not a too unsurprising upset, but it's been a well-measured game from the Three Lions. Some might say surprisingly. As I said, since their independence from the former Yugoslavia, you could argue that Croatia has been the better international side compared to England. Of course, England being at Wembley helps, but Croatia's not one to give up. They're certainly not giving up in this game. Finally, some attacking pressure. Sometimes these are the moments where England folds. England fail to take their chances. Pickford winning every aerial challenge. Has done it well. He's had a very convincing performance. In spite of whatever patchy form he may have for Everton, although I'd argue he's definitely had an improved season for the Toffees. Final minute of the game. And one final run forwards, but Kyle Walker has this one under control. I think both players having a lot of ink on their arms. That confused me. Everything Croatia do going through Luka Modric. Just taking as much time before the throw-in. So less time before the final whistle can sound. Maybe time for one final attack for Croatia. Vida forward. Vida's pass forward, I should say. A massive throw-in is needed. And it's over the top. England win. A well-managed performance from Gareth Southgate and his men. I'm not sure whether this really avenges for what happened in that World Cup semi-final in 2018. But once again, England have defeated Croatia. And this is a game of some importance after all. And while Croatia will look to the next two games with even more emphasis on a win to get to the knockouts, this will give England so much confidence, not least a handful of their players who have played big, unexpected roles in the success today. The 3 points are certainly coming home. The best possible start they could ask for as they go on to face the old enemy in a few days' time again at Wembley. England against Scotland is going to be a fantastic match. As I said, Croatia, well, I think they are going to be, they'll still be good at this tournament, but they definitely won't progress far into the knockouts, even if they make it, if they play like this in their other two games against the Czech Republic, and then they play the Scottish at Hampden Park on the final match day of the group stage. But despite England injuries and fitness problems for both sides, England have shown up. They've done exactly what was expected of them. A 1-goal win is enough. And as I said, they'll have a much clearer view of where they stand going forward. And as long as the likes of Kane and Rice, Bellingham, Mason Mount, Foden, maybe even Tyrone Mings can stay fit and healthy and avoid suspension over the tournaments, there's no reason to believe England can't put on a good show. A good show, not a bad one. Well, I think that is the end of my coverage of this game. I'll be back tomorrow evening as Spain take on Sweden in the opening match of their tournament in Seville. Sorry for the hasty exit, but final score here in London at Wembley Stadium is England 1, Croatia 0. Goodbye everyone, see you all soon.